Hello, hi everyone. Hello. It's Hannah here from Hand and Crochet, and I hope I've pressed the right button. I hope I'm live, and I hope you can hear me. If you're here, pop in, say hi in the comments. I'm delighted to have been invited back by Annie's to come and do another quick tutorial for you. I've been doing this since kind of last year, I think now. I think this is my fourth or fifth time, and each time you give me such a warm welcome, and I'm so happy to be here. Hi, Annie's, you're here, and you can hear me, you can see me, all is good. So, if you haven't met me before, I'm Hannah from Hand Jam Crochet, and I have been designing crochet patterns for about 10 years now. Which seems absolutely crazy to me. And it's been my full-time career for about the last year, which again is absolutely mind-blowing. And it's thanks to people like you that I can do this for a living. So thank you very much for making me feel so welcome. So do pop in. Hello, Michelle. Hello there. Come and tell me where you're from, where you're watching, what you're crocheting at the moment. Tell me anything you like. I'd love to hear from you. Beth, hi, Beth from New York. Oh, how lovely. I'm in the UK, as you can probably tell. Oh, Kenya. Someone is watching from Kenya. Hello, how are you? Good morning. Oh, Donna and Jane. Hello. It's so lovely to see you all. Well, obviously I can't see you, but if I I would love to see you, absolutely. And to connect with you because it's really important. That's one of my missions with Hanjan, is to do stuff like this, to connect with my audience, with people who are like-minded like me, that want to learn stuff, that want to crochet and create and all that kind of stuff. So, shall we get cracking? There's loads of people joining. Hello, everyone. Hello. Oh, someone from Barry in South Wales, not too far from me, a lot closer than everyone else. Canada, hello, everyone. So, we are going to chat today. If you joined me last time, you might remember that we did a mosaic crochet technique. So, my next question to you all, pop in the comments, have you ever tried mosaic crochet? And if so, which version have you tried? Which type of mosaic crochet technique have you tried? Because last time we spoke about the inset mosaic crochet technique, but this time we're going to talk about the overlay mosaic crochet technique. If that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, please don't worry, because we're going to go through it all. Don't worry. Oh, there's loads of people joining. Hello, Claudia from Texas. How lovely. How lovely you're here. And Melanie from Germany. Oh, how wonderful. I could just do this all day. Say hello to everyone. It's brilliant. Not yet. Veronica has not tried mosaic crochet yet. Now, so my question then, Veronica, oh, Anne never tried as well. My question to you then is why not? Is it because it looks tricky? Because for me, for a very long time, it was because it looks tricky and you have to read charts, both of which I had no interest in doing whatsoever. I'm not very good at reading charts until I kind of pushed myself into doing it. So hello, sorry everyone, there's so many comments popping up. Oh, so lovely to hear from you all. So yeah, so mosaic crochet, I think, puts lots of people off because it looks really tricky. However, it's actually quite a simple technique. You only need to know a US single crochet and a US double crochet. They're the only stitches you need to know. And the trick is to find out where you put those stitches. And I know that sounds really obvious to say, but oh, Diane has, yes, she's working on a baby set. Hello. Beth hasn't tried either. Oh, wonderful. Lots of people. Hopefully, I'm going to inspire you to get going. So, shall I show you what we're going to chat about first? My blanket, which I had this organized earlier, now it's all the way upside down. Never mind. So, this blanket. Oh, Fran, thank you. Fran says she loves what I'm wearing. Thank you. It's one of my designs. It's free on my blog if you'd like to go and find that. It's the Picanti wrap. So this is, again, the wrong way up. Let's turn it round. This is my rainbow splash blanket. Now this, I don't know how well you can see all of that. That is overlay mosaic crochet. And it looks terribly complicated. Oh, Michelle is working on overlay mosaic crochet cushion. Hurrah! Someone has tried it. This looks really complicated, but it's really not, because we're only ever going to use one colour per row. So let me allay your fears there. You're not ever going to change colour during a row. So easy peasy from that point of view. And if I show you the back, that's much more obvious then, isn't it? When the back is just rows and rows. Whereas inset crochet looks slightly different because you're going to work 2 rows per line of your chart. Whereas in overlay crochet, you work 1 row. Again, all that will become clear. Veronica has been working on Tunisian crochets. I see. I'm not very good at Tunisian crochet. I don't know. I just don't get it. So maybe I need to do that next, and you can do mosaic next. I think that sounds good. So yeah, so 1 row per colour. And what we're always going to do is work from the right side of your work. So you're going to get to the end of your row, you're going to cut your yarn, and then you're going to go back to the very beginning again. So you've always got your right side facing. And I know that confuses people, so that's kind of why I've explained it in that kind of really obvious way. But you'll always go back to your very beginning and start again. And then these stitches here, these double crochet stitches, they drop down, for want of a better word, into this front loop here that you've left empty, because the other thing to know is that all of your single crochet stitches will be worked in the back loop only. So you probably can see there, and you'll see better when I turn over and give you an example, you always work in the back loop only, and then that leaves the front loops open to pop these stitches down into, and that's what creates the design. There are so many people commenting. I'd love to keep up with you all. So exciting to see the project. Fran says, I'm working on a buffalo check Afghan. Ooh, that continues the yarns across. Yeah, so in some colour work, you do carry your yarns, don't you, so that you change throughout the row. But you don't need to do that in this, which I really, really love. And the other thing about this kind of, especially this design, is that you can change colours as often as you like, or you can do blocks of colours like I've got here. You really can personalise it, and it's great for using up yarn stash, which is basically what I did with this design here. So shall we get going? I think I made loads of notes, but I don't know if I've asked you any of the things that I wanted to ask you. But I'll flip the camera and we'll work a small section, because the good thing about this is that it's a really simple stitch repeat. We've got 10 stitches here, plus a couple on the end. So what we'll do is just work that simple stitch repeat together, and hopefully it will inspire you to have a go. So this is the scariest bit. Crocheting on camera is not scary to me. Turning the camera over and then flipping it round, that is scary. So bear with me, and I do apologise if I drop you. I have no intention of doing so. Hey, I think, oh, Lily's here from Texas. Oh, Leah used this type for her first temperature blanket. What a good idea. Yes, Apache tear stitch. So it basically is exactly the same technique that is used in the Apache tear stitch, definitely. So, as I said, like, charts really scared me for a long time, and in all honesty, they still sometimes do, even though I write the charts. So, you are not alone if you look at this and think, oh my goodness, what do I do? So, they all look a bit different. And the reason that this one has got blocked out sections is because this section is not repeated. This is the section that we repeat. So the rules here to follow, as you see, we have our rows going up the side here, and we have our stitches going along here. And we're going to read the chart from the right to the left. And we have set up stitches here of 2, and then we have a repeat of 10. So if you're making your blanket however long you want to, however wide you want to make it, pardon me, what you're going to do is you're going to then ignore those first 2 setup stitches once you've done them, and then you're going to repeat stitches 1 to 10 as many times as you like all the way along. So the other things we need to know is that every single square in this chart represents a single crochet. And every single crochet that you work is going to be in the back loop only. And then this is the thing that I think, tell me if you think differently, but the thing I think is complicated about the charts is that the shaded parts don't actually tell you where to put your stitches. The shaded parts in these charts tell you what the stitches are going to look like when they're done. And what they look like when they're done and where you put them are two different things. Now that's very confusing, I know. But if you can see here on this little sample I've made, this little arrowhead here, that's the design that this is showing you where it is. But those stitches actually go where these stars are. Now, if you've done lots of mosaic already, you'll probably know that it's either a star or a cross. So any box, any square here is a single crochet in the back loop only, unless it's got a star in it or a cross. That means that we need to work one of these special stitches, which is sometimes called a mosaic stitch, but actually all it is a US double crochet into the front loop of the stitch 2 rows below. That sounds a really load of gobbledygook, I know. But let's have a go together and I'll show you just how easy it actually is. So I'm going to jiggle this up here because one of the things that I've learned in doing these lives is that all of the comments are here. Where can we see it? The comments are all here, which is fabulous, but it makes it very difficult to see. So I'm going to put my hands as high as I can in the camera. But you can swipe right or left, I can't remember which one, to move the comments. So have a go. If the comments are getting in your way to be able to see me, then just jiggle them. Okay, so we are going to start with chaining 13, which I'm going to have to count because I can't talk and count. Sorry. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And the reason we've chained 13 is because we're going to work back across to get our 12 stitches. Now, normally I would work in the back bump of the stitches, but that's really tricky to do at kind of arm's length. So I'm just going to go into the chain as you see here, and we're going to work a single crochet into the 12. So starting from the second chain from the hook. Let's count them. Oh, Anne has asked, what wool and hook are you using, please? I am, sir. Ooh, very good question. This yarn is Hugh and Me from Lion Brand, and it's really lovely. It's, I believe, 80% wool and 20% acrylic, and it's a really lovely yarn to work with. And my hook is a Furls hook. It's one of their streamlined swirls. So we now have a single crochet in each of those. So we should now have 12 if I haven't miscounted while I was talking. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Hurrah, we do. So it might seem really bizarre, but we are going to break our yarn. Because remember I said we're going to work from the right side only every single row. So you will always break your yarn, and you will always then go back to this very first stitch and start again. Oh, Annie's, thank you. They've put a link for Hugh and Me yarn there. It really is lovely. It comes in lovely, lovely colours. So what we're now going to do is join to this first stitch again. Now you can do whatever colour coordination and combination that you like. But what we need to do is refer to the chart. So we've done row 1, which we knew was just a plain sailing row of stitches. And now let's jiggle that so you can see. Row 2, again, we look along and we have got some grey boxes, but we know that they're not anything different. We know that that's just going to represent where the pattern is going to become. So we now know that we now need to do a single crochet in the back loop of each stitch along this second row. So I'm going to make it a matching one for the little sample I made earlier. So let's jiggle that, and we're going to join here. And remembering to work now in the back loops only. So if you've never done that before, we have a front loop here and a back loop here of the stitch. So if you look at it like it's on its end, you've got a V. So we have the back loop here. It's always the furthest away from you when you're working. So we go into there like that, and we'll work the 12 stitches all the way along. And the thing is, lots of people say that working a blanket or any project in just single crochet, because that's essentially what you're doing, goodness me, that will take forever, etc., etc. But actually, it really doesn't. And it's a really, once you've got this stitch repeat into your head, it's a really mindful technique to do. It's great for a project that, especially like, I can't remember who said it, was it Anne who said about a temperature blanket? It's really great for stuff like that, because you can just do a row at a time and not think too hard about it. And then we have our row 2. So you're going to similarly break your yarn, and then we need to look on the chart for what we need to do for row 3. So row 3, we now know that we've got 2 stitches here, which are our setup stitches, which we have, and then we come across a star. So we know there that we're going to need to work a double crochet, so one of our mosaic crochet stitch, and then we're plain sailing for the next 5, and then a star, and then plain sailing. So I'm going to change my colour now, because that will also make it easier to see where we pop the next stitch. And again, from this right side facing, we're going to join to the first stitch. Oh, she says, there we go. And then we're going to work 2 stitches in the back loop only still. And then we've come to the next stitch, and we now know this is going to be our first mosaic stitch. So what we're going to do, we're not going to work into either of the loops of the stitch directly below. We're going to drop down to the stitch below that. So we've got our 1, 2, 3, a third stitch along, and you're looking for the front loop of the stitch 2 rows below. So you're going to yarn over, and you're going to make a double crochet into that stitch. Now that looked all sorts of kinds of awkward, because as you can imagine, I've got the camera over the top, and it's at arm's length. So this is not how I would be crocheting it if I was sat on my sofa. It will feel much easier than that looked. And then what we need to do is carry on doing our single crochets in the next 5, because that's what the chart told us. 3, 4, and 5. And then we need to do our next double crochet in the stitch front loop 2 rows below. So let's move up so you can see a bit easier. So I hope this is now making a bit of sense, and if it's not, please do ask. Let me know if there's any questions about this. And now we're going to do a single crochet in the back loop of the last 3. So that is our first row of mosaic crochet complete. And that actually is quite straightforward, isn't it? We're going to break our yarn again, and then you're going to go back to the beginning of your row. And so then row 4, we'll start again. So we've got 1, 2, 3 stitches that are just single crochet in the back loop only, and then we come to our first star, so we've got a mosaic stitch in it. So we're going to do 3, 1, 3, 1, and 4. So you could, the thing is, with the patterns that I do, and I'm sure other designers as well, we do a full written version of the pattern plus the chart. So if chart reading really isn't for you, then don't worry about it. Just follow the written pattern, because the written pattern will just say single crochet in 3, mosaic crochet or double crochet in the front loop 2 rows below in the next one, etc., etc. So if you prefer just to read a pattern, then actually you can. This doesn't have to be all about chart reading. So here we go to join ready for row 4. So yeah, so let's find out, have I inspired anyone to have a go at it? Does it look easier or harder than you thought it would? Let me know what you think. We're going to 1 and back loop only, remember, 2 and 3, and then we're ready to do our first mosaic of this stitch of this row. And so you're going to see it's going to sit here in the front loop of this stitch. Oh, hang on, I'm just going to read what Anne says before I do that stitch. Anne says, new string to my bow. Oh, maybe one day I can show people how to crochet without sewing. I can't see the rest of that comment. It won't show me it. Oh, I'm so sorry, Anne. But I'm so glad that you like it. Yeah. And that's your mosaic crochet stitch there, your double crochet in the front loop. And then we're going to single crochet in the back loop of 3. Oh, Fran has said I've made it clear, so you might try it. Yes, Fran, go and try it. Brilliant news. Just grab some yarn, grab a hook and have a go. Sydney says it seems easier. Brilliant. I honestly think, and as I said, this is one of my missions with Hanjan now, is to show people that things may look complicated, but they're really not. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some things that are terribly complicated, aren't they? Oh, Veronica says she's interested and will look for a pattern to do next. That's fantastic news. There are so many beautiful overlay mosaic crochet patterns out there. And the other thing I wanted to say is that it works beautifully in the round. So I've made mosaic crochet hats, bags, baskets, all sorts of things, because in the round it's much, much easier because you don't have any ends to cut. Oh, and that's something I'm going to talk about ends in a minute. Please remind me if I don't remember. Anne has asked, what size hook am I using? I don't know. What size hook? It's a 10 millimeter. It's a P, 10 millimeter hook. It works really nicely with this yarn, which I believe is a bulky yarn. Or can't remember. I can't honestly tell you. So we've done 4 rows here, and we will just pause because I have remembered what I was going to say about ends. So as you can see here and on the blanket that I was showing you before, you are left with loads and loads of ends because you're working from the right side only, and you're going to cut and break your yarn at the end of every row. Now, if you have got 3 options, because lots of people say, oh gosh, what do you do with your ends? There are 3 options, but in my mind, there's really only 2 options, because I'll tell you why in a minute. So one is to make them into tassels, like I have on my blanket and like I have here, but this is obviously a very loose one just to show you how to do it. Oh, Cynthia has said it looks pretty easy, and she did a similar blanket years ago. Yes, I think this technique has been around for many, many, many years, but I'm not entirely sure that it's been commonly known as overlay mosaic crochet, pardon me, until more recently. So this is probably something that actually everyone has had a go at and everyone has done at some point in a pattern, but it's never just been called overlay crochet. So yes, so option 1, make them into tassels, which I'm a great fan of. And option 2 is to make a border. So if you were doing a blanket and going along your edge here, you could do what's called an envelope border. I don't know if anyone's heard about this. And Anne says she's in the UK, so I'm in the UK too, so different yarns. Yes, you can easily get this in the UK, definitely. The envelope border is worked along here, and then you work your rows of your border, and then you hide these inside it, and you flip your work and you join the rest of the border to the back here. So you don't have to, as long as they're securely tied here, you don't have to weave in your ends at all. And it's a beautiful, nice, thick border that goes over the top of this and hides them. So that's your second option for your ends. And your third option is to weave them in. And I don't know about you, but like a few ends are enough for me to weave in. There is no way that I would want to be weaving in all of the ends along a blanket of 150 rows or something like that. So I don't know if you're with me there on weaving in ends. If I could get someone to do that for me, I would. But they're your 3 options. So let's pop back to the chart and let's see where we are next. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we're at row 5. and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 before we get to our first mosaic stitch. So just join at the very beginning, and we are in the back loop only still, and we do 1, 2, 3 and 4. Let me just check that. Yeah, row 5 is 4, and then so now we have a mosaic crochet stitch dropping down 2 rows below into the front loop. Oh, Anne's made Tina's Havana mosaic blanket with the envelope border. Yes, yes, it's stunning, that design, isn't it? Oh, drop down into there, and then we have 1 single crochet in the back loop only, and then a mosaic crochet stitch 2 rows below in the front loop. Now, one of my tips for your tension on overlay mosaic crochet is to not be too tight. And always when you're making a mosaic stitch like that one I just did there, make sure you pull it up to the height that your single crochets are, because it's very easy to let it get pulled down. And then the whole thing can get a bit distorted. And I mean, obviously you're going to block it afterwards anyway, but it can make it look really out of sync, as it were, if you don't do that. So break your yarn. Oh, Anna said, gorgeous hook. Shame the UK stockists aren't available now for furs. I know. It's a real shame. It's a real shame. You can get them shipped here still, so that's all good. And it doesn't take too long. I'm waiting for another one to arrive right now. So then we're going to do row 6, and this will be the last one we do together for our little swatch. But as you can see, all you'll need to then keep doing is repeating up and up and up the pattern. So we join again, and we chain 1 to start. And now row 6, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 before we get to our mosaic stitch here. One, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then our mosaic stitch 2 rows below in the front loop only. So as long as you follow those rules and you're just working single crochets into the back loop only, unless you're told on the chart to work a double crochet or your mosaic stitch, then you won't go wrong. The only thing I would say is that in a massive blanket that has got, I think this blanket here has got like 120 stitches, I would always, once you have finished a row, just go back and eyeball it. Just make sure you've not made any silly mistakes anywhere, which I definitely do. I always do. And you end up unpicking. So if I just show you here, it's better to just frog a row when you've done it. Oh, it's so relaxing to watch people crochet. It is, isn't it? I really like watching videos of people crochet. So yeah, just eyeball it and go back and make sure that you haven't got anything out of sync, because if you put one of your mosaic stitches out of sync, the next row will get wrong. I mean, you've probably all been there anyway, haven't you, where you think your stitch count is right and it all just goes wonky at the last minute and you don't know where you've gone wrong. So it might be a bit laborious, but especially maybe just for the first part of your pattern while you're getting it established, just check where you are, go back and do a stitch count. But because of how the pattern sits in this arrow, it should be really obvious if one's out of place, etc. And yeah, I think that was kind of all the tips and tricks. I don't know if anyone else has any tips and tricks, please do shout out and let us know. It's such a lovely technique, and as I say, you can do it in the round. You can then carry your yarn up behind because you're never going to see. And there are some amazing designs out there, amazing patterns. This is just a really straightforward, simple one. But the impact of this one, I think, is because of the ombre changes of color throughout. But you could do anything you like with this. You could change color every other row. I think that would look really, really pretty. Or you could just do block sections of color. If you don't feel up to, you will have to change yarn every row. But if you just want to work it in blocks like this, and then it makes it look like you've got little like teardrops down into this section, then that could work too. I really, really love inspiring people to try new things, and I really hope that you will after seeing this. Veronica's saying, thank you, I love this stitch. It is lovely. It's such a relaxing technique to do. And like, you don't need stitch markers or anything like that. If you count to 10, you'll be fine. You don't do any more, I think, than like 5 stitches together. So before changing what you need to do. So if you can remember 4, 5, 3, 2, then you'll be absolutely fine. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for making me feel so welcome again. Obviously, it's quite nerve-wracking to do things like this. So thank you for being so kind to me. And this pattern, along with lots of my other patterns, are available on the Annie's website. So do take a look. And I do have lots of free patterns available on my blog as well. I'm Hannah from Hand Jam Crochet, and thank you so much for joining me. And I really hope to see you again soon. Bye.